everybody, and welcome to Economics Monday. My name's Nick Palamita. I'm here with our favorite star, Sasha Star, who's the host of.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. And, what do they say? Doza Donya or Datsytska, whatever they say over there in Russia.
Here we go.
What?
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, basically, here we go. It's actually just before we got on. I was multitasking with looking at the stock market and at a meeting at the same time because I was trying to figure out, hey, where are my stocks going? In the meantime, you'll love this one. Okay, so I'm on a board meeting with our HOA, and we have literally 600,000 in cash. Okay, you'll love this one, Sasha. And we're restricted to only put it in CDs. How do you like that? So we just bought, I don't know, 70, 80,000, 100,000.
In this, what can I say? In this environment, Nick, it's a cruel and unusual punishment.
Look, I'm just telling you where it is. Okay, I mean, the thing is, the reality on a lot of the organizations I work in, that we have restrictions on our fund investment. Okay, and so the thing is, we're limited to investing in certificate of deposits at banks. Or
are you allowed to keep your money in a mattress?
Yeah, we could do that too. As a matter of fact, a lot of the money, that's exactly where it is. It's in a mattress. So what happens is the money is in a mattress, and that's just the way it is.
If that's the way it is, you should open a mattress factory.
Well, in pension world where I work in, we put them in fixed equity indexed annuities. That's it's by law, we're limited to these guaranteed accounts. So it's not unusual that you work in that type of environment. Then I thought about the strategies that you were doing, the strategies that I'm doing, and is the return better? Absolutely. I mean, it's just, I was looking at my portfolio, it's going up, unbelievable. But the unfortunate thing is that, and I can do that in my private account, okay, but I can't do that on these accounts. Would I love to do these on these accounts? Absolutely. Now, also today, this morning, since we're on Economics Monday, Robinhood, who you're familiar with, got into a little bit of a legal scuffle, but you'll love what happened. The person that was investing was a 20-year-old, which they're trying to encourage them to learn how to invest, and I totally agree with it. The 20-year-old invested in options. Okay, buying options. Okay, now I've been down that rabbit hole before, but I had to be qualified as a buyer, and if you're a seller, you actually have to get what they call a Series 3 to sell in options. So it's not like you just all of a sudden you're out there doing options. Apparently, Robinhood had it pretty easy. You just press a couple buttons, and now all of a sudden you're a qualified investor to purchase options. And like I know, one of the problems with option trading is your options expire and you've lost your investment because
really,
right. Really, what a big surprise.
That's
okay,
horrible.
Which, by the way, is the reason I got out of the options market because I kept looking. I'm going, what happens if? And now I was lucky; the stocks went in my favor, and I cashed out. It was 1987; everything worked. But the thing is, I was going, what happens if they didn't go? I just lose all my money. And I'm watching this thing literally, Sasha. I was watching it every bloody day, trying to figure out when I'm in the money to pull out. And at my law practice, what law practice? I was busy doing options. So I kind of said, okay, I stopped. I kind of stopped all that stuff because I just, it's too intense, have the time. Well, anyway, so what happened is he was trying to make up money. He started with 85,000 and he lost 700,000. Well, the problem is he really didn't lose it because, when you go on margin, you usually have a countervailing balance that what they do is they say, okay, you've exceeded your margin limit and we're going to force you to sell your shares to pay off your margin account. Well, apparently there was a glitch in the Robinhood system and they showed him with 700,000 in losses and he committed suicide. Now, that's the sad part. He was going, I know, yeah, real case. Well, at least it's on television. I haven't read the facts of the case, but then he committed suicide because his whole goal was to pull his parents, at least he said, out of financial trouble and using his wonderful option trading investment strategy. He's a young guy, age 20.
Wow, that's a horrible story.
Which is a horrible story. Of course, then the lawyers get involved and they sue Robinhood. Now, Robinhood just raised $3.5 million so they can meet the SEC requirements for the volume of traffic that they're doing. 3.5 billion, excuse me, 3.5 billion went into Robinhood. So they have adequate funds to defend the case, I'm sure. But the way they're structured is they had no service. So when he kept calling about the 700,000 debt, he got no answers, because the thing is, it's automated. It's more profitable to be automated. Now, I actually work with companies that are huge, that are exactly big name companies I'm not going to mention because of our liability. Okay, if I mention the company, I could probably mention them and get away with it because of we're not liable anymore under Section 230. But still, it would be a little bit issue. But I work with some very major money managers that are in the multi-trillions of dollars. And you know what, Sasha? They provide no service or very little service, or especially in retirement plans. Here's what they'll do. Oh, we'll set up a retirement plan for you. So what they do is you would pay them a small fee, and they'd give you the plan documents. Now, the only problem is it has to be maintained every year. You have to fill out forms and report to the government. Well, they don't tell you, or they do in very fine print, that we're not going to do anything else for you. So my client, who was a doctor, went 3 years without filling out the appropriate forms, because, you know, he was a typical doctor, didn't want to pay any fees. So he went to the company that was the cheapest. This was the cheapest. Did the retirement plan form, which is true. They set up the document, determination letter, all that stuff, but didn't fill out any of the IRS forms. Okay, now the penalties were $15,000 per return, that if you don't fill out the form. Yeah, it's pretty significant. Sounds significant, doesn't it, Sasha? 15,000. You had 3 years, 45,000 in IRS penalties for not filling out the form, which is, you know, cost, you know, maybe $1,000 to fill out and send in. Okay, but now here's what makes matters worse, which people don't know. Remember, I said the 15,000 per year penalty for not filling out the form. It's called a Form 5500. It's like your income tax return. You have an estate tax return. You have a retirement planning return. They just upped the penalty this year to 150,000 per return. Sasha.
Nice.
I know, nice.
Brilliant idea.
Okay, listen to this. So for the audience who are listening, if you don't fill out these returns, they're called Form 5500. It's a non-taxable event. I'm not going to say it's a simple return. Some forms you actually have to work with an actual firm to fill it out. You can't fill it out. CPAs can't fill it out. It gives me a little bit of monopoly in my organization over there in Salt Lake, because we can fill it out because we're licensed to fill it out, but other people can't. CPAs, tax attorneys, etc. They can't fill it out. You need a TPA to do it. Okay, but now the penalty is 150,000 per return, which would add up his penalties to 450,000 because he didn't fill out a simple return. Now, you and I know that's outrageous. Okay, it is outrageous.
The only thing more outrageous is if they will raise it up to $500,000. That will be even more outrageous and will put tons of money in your pockets.
Well, absolutely. Now, there are certain correction programs you can go through, provided you catch these things. See, a lot of people go, oh, my provider, because it's usually a securities guy like a Robinhood. Okay, they get involved and they say, oh, we get put it in a retirement plan. They have to pay taxes on it. Here, we'll give you the form, and we'll charge you a couple $100 or whatever. And then they do it, and then they don't fill out any of the forms because they have no servicing department. But if you're ever caught not doing it, there's actually a delinquent filer voluntary compliance that you mitigate the total penalty about $750. Like, no kidding. And that's what you do. It's cleanup work. And we do that all the time in our office because we catch people that haven't filled out the forms. And if you didn't, it's not a draconian process. It's like this. If you catch it and you correct it, some cases it can be free, like, no kidding. We just fill. Some cases it'll cost you $750. If they catch it, it's $150,000. You see what I mean? It's a big difference. And all those gains you made in the market,
Actually, $750 is very reasonable.
I
That's
know,
what
right, right. That's what I'm saying.
tax. That's what
Yeah,
Trump paid on his tax
yeah,
returns.
that's true. That's true.
It's not a big deal. If Trump could do it, why can't you do it?
That's true. Trump paid a total of $750 in taxes. That's pretty
And
cool.
they always said, remember, 750, not thousand or
Right.
millions. It's just $750. That's
Yeah.
all. So
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and the thing is, when it comes to investing, like I said, through the pensions, you have to be in these secured accounts. But your 401k profit sharing, you can be in securities. You can invest, and that's the best place. I tell our clients that's where you buy your stocks,
That's right.
because in your retirement accounts, then you can have these gains. As a matter of fact, I probably should shift some of my assets over to my retirement accounts, because unfortunately, Sasha, you're creating problems for me. Working with you on my investments, I'm making money. And when I sell, I have to pay capital gains tax because I'm keeping it individually. I got to move it into retirement accounts, because then when I sell, I don't have to pay capital gains tax. So one of the best
You have to
places.
switch it to 401.
What?
You have to switch to
No,
401.
right. Well, yeah, or I could do it in my IRA. Actually, I have an IRA also. So the thing is, I can switch it to one of my other accounts to do that. I guess I got to do that because, unfortunately, you're forcing me to make money in my investment account by meeting with you every week and looking for something to buy. And
So please just don't sue me for
no, we put the disclaimers on the losses.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
mean, the thing is, I was trying to figure out which one is a dog, because the thing is, they go up and down. So Hertz Global was a dog last week, and now it's back up
Yeah.
again.
So there should be a
Hertz.
disclaimer for your gains as well, because if I'm forcing you to have gains and then you have to mess up with taxes and returns
Yeah,
and
right, yeah.
so double disclaimer then.
Yeah. Having to pay gains and taxes on the gains. Well, I mean, but see, that's what hurts a lot of the individual investors out there, is that they end up getting gains like what I did. And if I exercise the stocks and get out, I have to pay capital gains taxes, which looks like they're going to move it up this year. At least that's Biden's proposal, to move it up pretty significantly.
Yeah.
And if I have ordinary income, because you got me into those dividend stocks, which I do love because they send money in, I got to pay taxes on that. And so the true rate of return isn't as good because I'm sending money back to our friends at the IRS. So it almost forces people to invest in retirement accounts, because in retirement accounts, you can invest without the capital gains or the ordinary income from dividends. And talking to you, I realize I got to start switching my trading account. Needs to be a retirement account. This way I can time the buying and selling more judiciously than I've been doing right now. The thing is, I was just playing with it, but as it becomes serious money, you start looking at serious taxes. You go, this ain't gonna be fun, because all of a sudden, the end of the day, and I've had to do that before in the past, and I'm going to have to switch it over to that. But also, when we talk to our listeners out there, they have to also consider the same thing. If they're going to do trading, whether or not they should actually trade inside a retirement account or an IRA, or should they trade individually? Because trading individually, you're going to get reports. Like mine is TD Ameritrade. They send me stuff, and they basically tell the IRS all the gains you made. And you got to report it, and then you got to pay the taxes on it. And then the gains don't feel as good as they do if you had them trapped in a retirement account. You don't have to pay the taxes, but you do have to fill out that bloody form every year in order to
So
report.
what's the right strategy for which account you would do trades in stocks like GameStop? Which account would you use?
I'm doing my personal trading is all done with TD Ameritrade, and then I have funds that are professionally managed with a money manager, which is the vast majority of them. We've always had trust companies and fund managers manage the vast majority, because it's too much work to do that. But then my individual trade is TD Ameritrade, and that's my what I call fun account. So when I meet with Sasha, I can buy these stocks and collect the dividends. I don't tend to sell, but the thing is, eventually I'm going to, because I think everyone has their time in the sunlight, and then eventually you're going to have to get out. And that's what I'm looking at. Okay, now when I get out, what happens? I get out paying huge amounts of taxes, and that's not fun, as opposed to be able to do it in a IRA or a SEP or another account, 401k or a profit sharing, or I can do it everything except the pensions, which I set up all the time because they're not allowed to have that.
Yeah, but then it almost begs next question. If you will have so much gains and
Yeah.
dividends and everything else, then you can afford to buy a stock of like a GameStop, because now you already
Yeah,
accumulated so
true.
much gains
True.
and profits that you just can go out and buy GameStop without any
Yeah,
consequences.
yeah, true. I could buy GameStop, and I could also I can gamble in other forms of investments, but I'm not really inclined to do that because I don't think GameStop is even too risky for me. And today we also have as our guest Kim Calhoun, one of the founders of the IBM TV network.
Hi,
Welcome
guys.
to Economics Monday.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning. And what a morning it is. Oh my goodness. Did you
I,
guys?
I saw it, but I missed the meeting with the person from Verizon. I'm watching it on the other screen. Matter of fact, I'm watching us on the other screen right now, but I missed it. Okay, listen. I had a meeting with my homeowners association this morning. Okay, and it was a 2-hour meeting. I was going like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, and and it was 5 minutes to showtime here, and my social committee, which I'm ahead of, hasn't even appeared yet. So I had to break into the meeting and said, look, guys, I got to go to this other one. So here's my social committee meeting report. There is no social committee. There's no social activities because of COVID-19. End of report, click. And I left. Okay.
COVID-19.
Yeah, so social over. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm sitting watching the guy on Verizon during the whole thing on the other screen, so I can actually watch the IBM TV network while I talk over here. And I was telling Sasha, I said, the interesting thing about this, because when it comes to investing, our POA has about 645,000 in its reserve account, 122,000 in the operating account. The 645 is all going into CDs. Why? Because we're restricted. We can't really invest it. So it has to all go in the bank, paying basically no interest. And it reminded me of my pension business where we bring in about $1 million a week, and it all goes into annuity contracts, which are basically CDs with insurance companies. They pay 100 basis points more than a CD, but 3% maybe is not a great rate of return
So
in
some of
today's
my
market.
annuities are actually making 8 to 10%. I haven't quite figured that
Oh,
out.
yeah. Well,
But it's been quite interesting roller coaster.
Mhm.
And again, I need to probably sit on Sasha's Modern Investing show and actually do some of my own investing. I tried to do that a long time ago, but I decided to leave it to somebody who's more experienced than me, because what I learned about doing your own investing is it's a discipline. I've even taken classes on it, but what I learned is they made it sound so easy when they sold the class, right? And you're like, oh, come on, it's so easy, and
it isn't easy.
but here's the thing: it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a discipline. Period. You have to get out there every day, look at the numbers, figure out your pattern, figure out what fits you, and then stick with it every day. I see Sasha. I see him go.
Yeah.
I'm not at his home, but I see him when he's into his computer. I know what he's doing. He's looking at all of those numbers.
But see, you can do both. But you can have both. I have most of my funds are professionally managed, but I also have my own what I call trading account. Okay, so I have my professional money manager handling the bulk of the what I call the serious money. Which, frankly, if somebody asks, "Well, how much do you have in it?" I have no clue. I don't look at it very often. Usually, once a quarter, I'll take a look at it. Then I have my trading account, which I look at all the time, which is the fun account, which is modern investing with Sasha. And that's the reason I go every week, because I want to keep adding to my trading account, and it's more fun than real. And there I can buy things like GameStop. I bought Hertz, which is a complete dog, but right now it's up. But my theory of the trading account, Sasha, is that when Biden passes that bill and he floods the market with $2 trillion, okay, the market's going to go up because there's just more money out there. But the fixed instruments won't. The CDs are controlled by the Federal Reserve. So it's going to stick to those low interest rate CDs, but the money's got to go somewhere. And your choice is CDs and make nothing, or the stock market, where, I did break down and buy IBM, but I had to. The dividend was 5%. Guess what? IBM stock has also gone up. So I get my 5%
Yes, it
plus
has.
depreciation. Well, this is a little different. This is IBM TV. But the thing is, the IBM stock itself has gone up, and I was pretty happy with that. But frankly, I'm happy with the 5% dividend, and same with all those dividend-paying stocks that are 5% that you can still get today. And frankly, even if it went down to half, but I kept getting 5% per year, that's more than I'm going to get on a CD.
Let me ask you this, guys. What about telecom stock like Verizon, right? We had them on our show. They just invested $10 million into a grant program for small businesses around the world to build technology that impacts our communities, that helps our communities with technology using the 5G platform. I've watched Verizon for many years participate in the first responder projects, the Next Gen 911 for cities. They're out there. And I don't know if you heard this on the previous show. They literally laid 70 miles of fiber around the Raymond James Stadium. 70 miles. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
There you go.
I think we show it on the screen. See, this is the interesting thing about the stock, because a lot of it's numerically based, along with what you do is you look at the fundamentals of the company. Okay, so when you look at the price earnings ratio of 12.8 is actually very reasonable for that stock, which means per profits they're trading at 12 times, so that part's reasonable. Then I look at 52-week high low, the high 61, low is 48, they're trading at 55, so they're really trading in the medium of that. So you go to the year, but the year is only going to be a short year, so you're not going to see very much in a year. So we go see what's the long-term trend on the 5 years, and they're pretty consistent. Let's see that. Let's go back to the month.
They've been at one of those consistent companies, right?
Yeah.
I watched them from when they began. Like, I watched them when they started acquiring all the other telephone companies like GTE and a couple of other companies, and it's just been so impressive watching them grow over the years.
Yeah,
I was a small phone company when they I watched them start acquiring other companies. So
yeah. What I don't see is any dividends on the stock. That's the only.
I don't think they pay. I'm not sure. We would have to get someone on the phone and ask.
Actually, it pays for about 4.5% dividends.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Where do you find that at, Sasha?
Always ask Sasha.
On Yahoo Financials page.
Where would you see that at? Show me.
Yeah, I'm at the financials page, and I'm looking for that.
Go to Yahoo Financials, and you take Verizon, and it will show the prices, bid and ask for the dividend and yield. It's $2.51, which is slightly over 4.5%.
Yeah. See, the thing is, then it would be a reasonable, what I would call an anchor stock to buy, because you're buying for that, the 4.5% dividend.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go see if I can get a better picture. Yeah, I don't trade in it, so I don't know what the ticker is.
See, Nick, the challenge with stocks like Verizon is that obviously it's wildly held stock. Almost any pension fund and mutual fund, almost everyone has Verizon in it.
Yeah.
So this is the company. It's a very stable company, of course, with predictable income. It pays a pretty good dividend. But there is hardly you can uncover something what other investors don't know. The best scenario, you will know just as much as they do. So you have no edge whatsoever.
Right.
Now, what will happen and what should happen to make the stock worth, say, twice as much as it was today? Say, going from 55, say, to $100, 110. What has to happen? I don't see any scenario under which that stock will go significantly higher. So it has its trading range. It may go to $60, maybe even $65.
Yeah.
What's happened overall that too much money are chasing too few stocks. So essentially, if that environment will continue, Verizon, like all other stocks, will go higher. But it's not going to be much higher. It's not in category with Amazon, with even Microsoft. Forget about Nvidia and
Mhm.
all other mega stocks. Verizon is not there. However, it serves different purposes because investors who are buying Verizon probably will not touch Nvidia, probably, and vice versa. People who are in Nvidia, they will not look at Verizon.
Yeah.
For them, it's not even a stock. It's almost like a bank deposit, paying
Well,
some
yeah.
of
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't see like you said, a wild upside, but I also don't see a lot of downside.
yeah,
And
absolutely right.
and the rule number one is what? Don't lose money. Okay, well, this is a place where people can park cash and get a reasonable return of around 5%, 4.5%, which is pretty good in the financial market, and not have to worry about the stock blowing out. The upside on a lot of these, it's just like IBM. Say, where's the upside? Thing isn't going where. It's the patents that they own. They have a lot of patents, a lot of reason to expand. So what's the advantage of a company like Verizon? It is what management can do with their infrastructure on a going forward basis, which is really hard to answer.
I have an answer.
Yeah.
They can do not much because they have severe competition everywhere. They have one of the best technologies. I don't think that the technology is any better than AT&T, for example, but it's just, let's imagine it's just as good. So this company is doing all the marketing and acquisitions and everything else, and it grew to a certain size. But so is competition doing exactly about the same thing. So
Right.
they're growing and acquiring and building up their customer base and business customer base and everything else. So this company is pitted against that company, plus some T-Mobile, plus few other carriers. I really don't see the game here. So if
Yeah.
you get secure dividends, that's okay. That serves its purpose, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, or they could expand internationally. And speaking of internationally, from Nepal, we have our visitor today, Shambhu Pokhrel, who's the CEO of Club Global in Kathmandu, Nepal. Shambhu, how are we doing in Kathmandu?
Good evening from here. I think here is good morning. Okay.
Yes.
So everything going good. We are trying to recover from this pandemic, though the vaccination process has been started, but still COVID is there. But so much the prevalent position is not there. People stop caring COVID, and economy looks like simply trying to resume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you recently, though, you traveled to New Delhi. I saw you on a plane going to New Delhi. What were you doing down in New Delhi anyway?
Actually, I was there to receive one honorary PhD from Global Peace University, USA. And side by side, I had some side businesses to have meeting and other things. Nepal-India flight has already been resumed and is currently operating more than 3-4 flights per day. So it looked like from COVID we are coming out.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the thing is, you went to get an honorary PhD, so now I can call you Dr. Shambhu Pokhrel, correct?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, doctor. And speaking of another person who has a PhD, coming in from Malaysia is our friend. Haven't seen him for a while, but let's welcome back to the show, Sharif Rana. Sharif,
Yes, thank you.
welcome to the show. You know, are you still in Malaysia?
Yes, I'm in Malaysia. Hello.
Yes. Hello. And what's happening down there?
Yes, Malaysia actually right now COVID increasing, especially mainland Malaysia, especially Kuala Lumpur and Selangor and many area. COVID actually increasing, but good point is that government taking lot of initiative. Still, we are under MCO, Movement Control Order. I think it will be continue until 18th of this month.
Wow.
But there is a chance that they will extend it. That is the things. But fact is that as long time there is a movement control order. Beside that, there are many small medium enterprise, and Malaysia basically tourist country. So yes, economically we have lot of challenges right now.
Yes, right. And also, we have some more people who help us out with the challenges. From Switzerland, let's welcome Ben Banerjee, who's the head of the Swiss Impact Investment Association. Ben, welcome to Economics Monday.
Thank you.
And hopefully things are going good in Switzerland. I like your new show, and I think everybody does. It seems to be a hit on the IBM TV network, so that's pretty good. And with that, we have another person who's our honored guest for today. He is the former, how you say, he was head of the accounting office, general accounting office, and also is the Crow professor at the U.S. Naval Academy. Let's former Comptroller General of the United States of America. Let's welcome the Honorable David M. Walker. David, welcome to the show.
Right, it's Government Accountability Officer.
Government Accountability
Office.
I didn't think.
Okay.
I didn't think
we don't do accounting except for our own books. That's
okay.
it.
Well, I didn't think there was anything There was any accountability office in the United States.
Well, when I was there, there was.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, when you were there was, right? Yeah.
There still is. There still is.
Okay, well, no, that's good to know because we do need a little bit more about this. This morning we have Sharif Reina from Malaysia, who's with the he does the World Talent Group. Shasa Star, who you know from investing with Sasha. We also have Ben Banerjee, who's the head of the Swiss Impact Investment Association, and Shambhu Pokral from Kathmandu, Nepal, who's also with the CEO of Club Global, which he actually just got an honorary PhD from New Delhi. So he moved that way. Maybe that's what they should award you, David, as an honorary PhD. What's your thoughts on that?
I've already got 4. They're by far the best value, and because of that, you can call me Dr. Dave.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't know that. Okay, so it's Dr.
Right.
Okay, Dr. David Walker. Now, Sharif.
No, don't call me doctor. Call me Dave. Forget it.
Dave. Okay, Sharif does have a PhD. The gentleman up over to the left and runs the world, the World Talent Forum from Malaysia. Does a lot there. Well, we're talking about the global economy, and I was going to say post COVID-19, but it looks like David, we haven't got out of the COVID-19 era. In other words, at least around here. So
let me mention what's being considered right now in Washington, and that is another piece of COVID-related legislation. The Democrats are proposing $1.9 trillion in additional spending. That's in addition to about $4 trillion that we've already done, of which almost $1 trillion has not even been spent yet. The Republicans countered, 10 Republican senators countered with $600 billion. They voted on a straight party line vote, 50-50, and the vice president cast the tie-breaking vote. So it was 51-50 to use what's called budget reconciliation, which means that you only have to have a majority vote. You can't be filibustered. There's still some moving parts, but the 3 things that I care the most about is that A, they ought to target this to COVID-19. There's a lot of things in here that have absolutely nothing to do with COVID-19, including a minimum wage increase, which I believe you could argue that we should increase that phased in over time, but it doesn't relate to COVID-19. And so it ought to come out of there. And there's also some technical rules that would say it might have to come out. They need to target who they're going to give money to. Right now, they're talking about giving money to people that don't deserve it, don't need it, won't spend it. Last time around, my wife and I got some money. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. They need to target better. And thirdly, they need to condition some of the aid. I've been teaching in person, face-to-face, with COVID protocols for 5 months without a vaccine. Now, I did get the first shot about 10 days ago, but 5 months without a vaccine. And they ought to condition this money that's going to go to schools to their commitment that they're going to open up the schools to in-person learning, because that's having a devastatingly negative impact on our education gap. And those that are less well off financially and who have single parent households get hurt the most. So that's what's going on from an economic standpoint in the short term. Of course, starting tomorrow, we're going to have another impeachment trial. which
Waste of money.
which quite candidly is probably unconstitutional on its face. And so I think it's little doubt how it's going to end up, but nonetheless, it's going to take time on the Senate calendar.
Mhm. Yeah, and usually the first arguments that go in front of the court, especially the Supreme Court, are procedural arguments. And I did see that, and I'm going, there's a lot of procedural issues that still need to be addressed. And I don't know if they're going to address it before the trial, after the trial, where the attorneys are going to make the motions during the trial. But I agree with you. There's some serious constitutional issues that have not been addressed in this impeachment trial.
The two big things up front. First, look, I think I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. Okay, I like some of his policies, but I never liked his style. And I think that he had some commission and omission errors with regard to what happened on January 6th. But several key points. Number one, he's a private citizen. You know, the idea of using impeachment to try a private citizen, frankly, doesn't make sense. Secondly, there was no due process in the House. There's a number of things that are supposed to take place in the House. There was no due process because there was only 10 days left in his term to begin with, and so they just rushed it through. And then three, you got to look in, then if you get past that, which I can debate whether or not you even get past that, then you get to the merits. Then you have to look at, well, what were the actual words that were said?
Right.
I don't know. I haven't seen any words that said attack, try to hurt people, breach. I haven't seen it. Maybe there's some out there, but I sure haven't seen it. But I think there are fundamental problems here, and we got a lot of other important things that we ought to be dealing with, quite frankly.
Yeah, and you're correct.
Excuse me, David.
Sasha.
The words are important.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
also
absolutely.
important the contest. When these words were said, how they were said, to whom they were said, all circumstances are important, not just words. So if you read what he actually said, I agree with you. Okay, it's still subject to interpretation, but okay, we can probably agree with you here and there. But if you remember when and how and it was said, it's a different story. Now, it's first of all about constitutionality. Of course, I don't want to sound as an expert. I'm not. But what I understand, the crime committed were when he was still a president. So, okay, he is no longer a president, but the time when he committed the crimes, he was a president. So we'll see how it will play out. I think that the first order of the day, from what I understand, will be constitutionality, whether he even can be tried. Now it will be resolved by a simple majority. I don't think that anybody has any doubts that there will be 51 votes, probably much more than that. But 51, it's almost granted. The second issue will be the procedural issues, witnesses issue. All that is decided by simple majority, 51% guaranteed to Democrats. So we are going to see trials, whether we want it or not. But the most important issue is, it's not whether there will be 76 people to convict him. That's not even an important issue. The important issue is to show people exactly what's really happened on January 6th. Why it is important to make sure that it will never, ever happen. So the procedural crux of it is same as Nuremberg's process. They could hang on all these criminals in a matter of 10.5 minutes. No, it was British prosecutors wanted. American prosecutors wanted something different. They wanted to have a full trial with witnesses, with everything, to expose what Germans did during the Second World War, and they succeeded. So now, what kind of conviction he is, that he is no longer will be run for a president? You must be out of your mind to believe that he has a chance. What's important, though, is to expose Trumpism for what it is. It's important to show people who believe that the earth is flat, to show them, no, you are wrong. The earth is not flat. And if you are going to persist that it's flat, saying that you have freedom of speech, with your freedom of speech, prepare $50,000 to pay retainer to your lawyer and then go to jail anyway. So now people who believe that the earth is flat, they believe, yeah, we know that the earth is flat, but you know what? It's not flat because I don't want to go to jail and I don't want to pay retainer to my lawyer. So earth is not flat.
But let's just keep in mind that the Nuremberg trials were criminal trials, and they were crimes against humanity, and it was fully appropriate that that be handled in the way that it was handled. Let's also remember that that the sanction for impeachment is removal from office, which takes 67 votes, or 2/3 of the Senate, assuming everybody votes. After that, you can vote again on a simple majority if you convict, to prevent the person from running for office again. I agree with you. He's not going to be elected president yet. That doesn't mean he wouldn't try to run, either as a Republican or as a third party candidate. And let's also keep in mind that while presidents that legal proceedings cannot be taken against presidents while they are in office, there is no preclusion whatsoever to taking legal proceedings against a former president, whether it deals with alleged criminality before they were president or when they were president. So, there's lots of different moving parts here.
David, wait a sec. The idea of not trying sitting president, it's nothing more than opinion of Department of Justice. That's all what it is.
We're not talking civil or criminal procedure. We're talking impeachment procedure, which there are no rules. There's just 2 lines in the Constitution.
Nick, I totally agree with you, but that will open gates for all further proceedings, including criminal. So this is just an opening.
But right now, it's not criminal, it's not civil, it's under the federal rules of impeachment procedure that don't exist. So the first motion will be to basically establish the rules. And if I was representing him, I would just file a motion to dismiss based on everything that David said. Of course, that clogs up the court system because it goes possibly, and I say possibly, the Supreme Court, possibly not, because there's no rules. You have to imagine all it says is you can be tried for high.
I can bet any money that Supreme Court will not mess around in this affair. They will just stay aside, and then
they will definitely be involved because the presiding judge will be Justice Roberts.
He's declined to preside, and the reason that he's declined to preside is because the Constitution says that he has to preside if it's for the President of the United States, and that's the whole point. It's not the President of the United States. It's a private citizen.
Right. Which means that, because so they're going back. So like I said, they have this huge amount of what they call procedural issues to go through. Then if they get through that, I agree with David. And I did have one of my attorneys read through the transcript. He said specifically to go down to Congress and peacefully, use the word peacefully, protest. And they didn't do it. Okay, now you can make all those arguments. Well, before he said this, and maybe that, and maybe that, but wait a minute, that's not.
And one of his problems, Nick, is omission. When you're a leader, you can make a problem 2 ways: commission, you do something you shouldn't do, and omission, you don't do something you should have done. He surely should have acted much more expeditiously than he did when things got out of hand. But let's see. Let's get on to something more productive, because my view is Washington is badly broken. Both political parties are it's shameful. I think neither one of them really represent the American people anymore. And we need political reform so we can restore a republic that's representative of and responsive to the public.
Yeah, because we have serious problems dealing with COVID-19. We have serious problems still dealing with the economy, and your favorite subject, the national debt. Because it looks to me what they're doing, David, because it's the easiest solution, is we're going to print a bunch of money again, distribute it again, and put the price tag on future generations to pay for again. And I think that's what's coming down the pike. So I did have conversations with Sasha. My belief is the stock market will continue to rise because there's no other place to park your money because the Federal Reserve is keeping interest rates down. So if you're not going to be in cash, and you're not going to be in certificate deposits, which pay nothing, then you're going to be forced into playing the stock market.
Yeah, but
We
what
are,
about the people who can't play the stock market, and the
There-
people who
There's
don't
Robin Hood.
have gas to get to apply for a job, or the women who can barely pay their bills. I mean, we talk about this on the Great USA Project on Fridays, and I've been getting some emails on this as well. Is that there's nothing being done about that, but everybody's worried about a stupid impeachment when people are hungry and people are committing suicides at massive rates. I just, read a small town report where, generally they would, and he said, I hate saying it this way, but we would see 12 a year. And he goes, this year's was 32. So we've got problems on our plate that are far exceed. And, I know what he did was probably not right. We got other problems we need to be looking at, and I hear about it every day from our show about single women who can't feed their families, can't find a job, and someone said, well, just get in your car and go down and apply here or volunteer here. They don't even have money. I'm telling you, people, they don't have money. Like you keep saying, Nick, there are people out here who don't have $400 in savings.
That's right.
So if you don't have that, you don't have gas to go down to volunteer.
and there is no
Excuse
question.
me, I just don't see how the elimination of the impeachment trial will help people who don't have $400, the single mother who are tending for their children, or any other issues.
Here's how it helps. Here's how it helps, Sasha.
Vaccination is going on with impeachment trial or without impeachment trial.
The people in Congress. Here's how it helps.
They're just
The people
wasting
in Congress.
time. They're just wasting
they're wasting
on
time.
priorities.
Hold on.
They spend their time.
It's a waste time of people who are there and paid anyway. They have to do something during the day. So if they are not to do impeachment trial, I don't know what else useful you expect them to do for you. Okay? So let them do their work. They're being paid $173,000 plus free parking at Washington Airport. Let them do the job.
Well, their job is to
Free parking.
fix
You
the
know, that free
American
parking's a
economy.
lot. It's like $100 a day now in DC now. So you're right. Parking is a lot. So
There's no question that there were growing gaps in America before COVID-19, both income, wealth, and education. And COVID-19 has made it worse. And really what it comes down to is they really ought to be dealing with legislative issues that deal with serious problems that have been facing our nation for some time, and they're not.
Yes. And since we do have an international audience, maybe we should grab our PhD economist from Malaysia. So I'm picking on you, Sharif. So what should we be spending our time in the United States doing? Should we be spending our time dealing with an impeachment with Trump or dealing with economic issues?
I think that now in the COVID situation, I do not know, maybe USA has a lot of financial strength and everything, but I don't know. What I do research, according to IMF, USA has also a lot of economic challenges right now. We should focus on right now economy, how we can make better business, how we can collaborate with different nations. We can focus on globalization. We can do more economic sessions, and as much as possible, entrepreneur initiative we should welcome. Politics, yes, politics part of life, but I don't know. I'm actually boring and tired of USA last couple of year discussion. I do not like it. If
Yes.
my personal life opinion.
Well, let's go to Switzerland, where we have Ben Banerjee, runs the Swiss Impact Investment Association. And I think either this week or next week, he's going to have the Prince of the Liechtenstein on. And he had a major investor on last week. What should we be doing, Ben? Should we be focusing on Trump still, or should we be working on the economy?
In this case, I think I would focus on Trump still, because this is going to have a major issue, especially in the Western world. We look up to United States, and US leader is basically a sort of leader to the Western world. If Trump can get away with what he did, with the damages caused, the 5 deaths and everything, this is going to lay such a massive precedence that the Europe, not only America, will lose its moral authority or the leadership in the world if Trump is not held responsible for his actions. That means anybody can get away with anything if you are president. You can cause deaths, you can cause destructions, mass hysteria, lies, propaganda. I mean, there's a long list of things. If nobody is held responsible for this, and he can get, okay, I'm not expert on US Constitution or anything, but if they find procedures, and what I find basically where the Republicans are really, I have a lot of friends, but now I'm completely disappointed that they gave up on democracy, that if they keep on supporting this game, they Republicans lose not only their own party, which they have, I think they are very scared of losing their party because of the Trump followers, the Trump votes, they end up losing the United States. And that would be a major, major pity. So I think in that case, I agree to Sasha that Trump and his cronies or people who supported him, I don't know whether it is the impeachment procedure, whether it's the legal procedure, but they should be held accountable.
Mhm.
It should be made as a precedent so that in the future this doesn't happen again. At
Yes.
least that's my opinion.
Yeah, looks like Sasha and you actually agree. Yes, Sasha.
Yeah, I
It's
would
very
say-
rare. But
It's really rare you guys actually agree. The American compromat. Okay, that's Russia.
Compromat. It's a book just came out last week. How the KGB cultivated Donald Trump and related tales at sex, greed, power, and treachery. This is a remarkable book written with assistance of former KGB who lives now in United States and who knows step by step how for more than 40 years KGB cultivated Donald Trump. The most remarkable thing about it is that when they learn, KGB, that he is going to do the primaries for US presidents, they couldn't believe how this person with his intellectual capacity, which could hardly write or read, could go, who no understanding of international politics, absolute zero whatsoever, he could be considered to become a president, and he did. Well, then at that point, of course, KGB or FSB now, they help him tremendously to become a president. But it all will be unraveled. And all the supporters of Trump's who believe that the earth is flat, it will be a day of reckoning.
I guess I just picked up my food at the grocery store. I didn't see any real issues. Let's see. Shambhu, are you there? Shambhu Pokor from Kathmandu. Are you there?
Yes,
Shambhu?
I'm here.
Okay. Now
Yeah,
Richard Nixon used to say, how will this play in Peoria? So RNU saying us, how will this play in Kathmandu? What should the U.S. be focused in on? The Trump impeachment, or should be focused in on our economic issues? Shambhu.
Actually, from my point of view, yes, I am doing my PhD, is about to finish, and in international relation as well. From my point of view, so Kim, so, you already told I got honorary doctor, so don't tell me doctor now. It's honorary, so I'm getting my real PhD as well in 2-3 months. So one thing, from American perspective, whatever gone, you don't have to dig it out. So you should focus on your economic issues. You should focus on some resilient business people, resilient people who want to grow, who want to rebuild America, rather than focusing on impeachment and other things. And next thing, America is somewhat losing its soft power globally. So maybe due to Trump or some actions happened in the last 4 years, America has lost its soft power in the global arena. So in this context, hard power is not only the power of America. America has 70% soft power. It means in technology, it is leading. In banking sector, it is leading. So lots of sectors are there. In innovation, it is leading. And its democracy, it is leading. It was leading, actually. So America have to gain not only from economic point of view, it has to grow from soft power point of view. That means the global impression of America, global image of America should be regained now. So America should focus on these things. American people should focus in these issues rather than focusing on impeachment or these things, punishing this guy, punishing this. I think it should not be the priority matter. So priority matter, the American image is damaged. When American president fights for the election and goes to his country, whole world is looking. Whole population of the world, 7.5 billion populations are looking. He is like their president. So America should regain that image and that impression due to regaining the soft power, soft value.
Yes, the Honorable David M. Walker. Yes.
Well, first, there's no question that American image has been harmed, I think, in recent years. And there's no question that America needs to re-engage with the world. And I think there's no question that President Biden has already taken various steps to say that he wants to re-engage with the world and take a more multilateral approach rather than a bilateral approach in connection with a number of matters. At the same point in time, America needs to also deal with putting its finances in order, because in the final analysis, economic power drives diplomatic influence, drives military capability, and also has an impact on how a country is viewed around the world, culturally and otherwise. And my biggest concern is that while I'm confident that we're going to re-engage with the world, and that's already starting to happen, and you also have to keep in mind, Trump is not a Republican. Trump is a Trumpster. He is about him. He's not about any political party. He's been a Democrat before. He's been a Republican before. He's been an independent before. Trump is about Trump. And this country is bigger than any one person. So we're gonna get past him. But the biggest threat that we have is internal.
Yes.
The growing gaps that we have internal, including our political and ideological divides, economic, income, education, and that our finances are in terrible shape and we're not doing anything about it. And if you can't put your finances in order, you're going to suffer economically over time. And if the country suffers economically, then the less well-off are going to suffer even more. And if we have a problem domestically, that's going to affect the rest of the world, because the greatest period of peace and prosperity in the world so far has been post-World War II.
And with that,
right.
Yes, we'd like to thank everybody thank you, David, for that wonderful statement.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank our audience, the Honorable David M. Walker, the former Comptroller General of the United States and former head of the General Accountability Office, I guess, GAO.
Government accountability. That's all
government
right.
accountability. I'm going to
There you go. You got it.
I don't equate government with accountability right now, except when you were there. Then we have Dr. Shambhu Pokhrel, who's the CEO of Club Global in Kathmandu, Nepal. Sasha Starr out of Toronto, Canada. Kim Calhoun, who's the president of IBM TV, Sharif Reina from Malaysia, and also Ben Banerjee from Switzerland. We'd like to thank everybody for attending the IBM TV Economics Monday. Hopefully we'll have a good week and the U.S. gets on the right track. But I like having the world here today to help us out. But we'd like to thank everybody for coming, and we will see you all next week. Spasiba.